In today's video, we're going to take a look at Amalinks Pro, a fantastic tool that can increase your sales and conversions on your niche website. So let's get stuck into this. Hi and welcome back to my channel again. My name's Carl and I'm an affiliate marketer here in the UK. Now if you've been following my journey, you'll know that I've set off, launched, building a mega website. When I say mega website, it's certainly going to be the biggest website I own, and it will have hundreds and hundreds of articles on the website, and we're aiming to get well over 1 million organic search traffic a month as soon as possible. Now on that website we will obviously have some blogs, and we'll be going after some keywords which we will hopefully rank for within this topic, and we'll also have some buyer intent keywords. Now the buyer intent keywords will need some lovely articles writing about each product or each service we're going to be selling, and you'll need a good tool to be able to pull through some lovely table of comparison boxes and some beautiful images directly from Amazon. Now to do this, you will need an Amazon account, you will need access to Amazon's API codes so that we can successfully pull over the images and the links and all the latest prices without breaking any of Amazon's terms and conditions. Now there's various tools and programs you can use out there like AAWP. I use that on a couple of my websites already, but I thought, is there anything else out there? Is there anything that can create some better table of comparison boxes like the ones you can see on the screen now, or these buy now boxes and the type of product review boxes that you see on these product reviews and these best buyer guides? So I've been recommended Amalinks Pro, so I thought I might as well take a look at it and see what it's all about. And I was going to bring you a full in-depth review on the product. However, I'm not an expert on Amalinks Pro. In fact, I'm not even used it yet. So I reached out to a good friend of mine, Josh, who has a YouTube channel. It's called Pro Blogger Income. I highly suggest you go over, check it out. He's got some fantastic videos on there. It's a new channel. He's just growing, but he's a very, very knowledgeable guy, and he's got some great content on there. So I suggest you go over and check him out, subscribe to his channel. I'll leave the link below. But he's an absolute expert on Amalinks Pro. So I thought, why not go to the expert and get Josh to do a review of the product for me? I can also learn something, and I can also bring the review to you guys. So if you're thinking of using Amalinks Pro or AAWP, then this might be the video for you. So without further ado, let's get over to the video now and let's see what Josh has to say about the product Amalinks Pro.
Hey guys, this is Josh from Pro Blogger Income, and I just was here trying to go through and explain how Amalinks Pro works for Carl and everybody on his channel. For note, I do work in support for Amalinks Pro. I've got a lot of time put in on understanding how this works and getting value out of it. I'm just going to kind of go through on a review open case study that's there on my YouTube for foot bags, just hacky sack for those who don't know what it is. I wanted to go through and kind of show you where you can go from going through these. So what you'll do is you can look and see right now on this review. It's pretty boring. It's just words and speaking about the company, but you see how it's kind of bland. Doesn't have much to set it apart. It's just a bunch of words. So we're going to fix that today in just a couple minutes. Starting here, what we want is typically some kind of immediate call to make a purchase. So when they're happy with the product and they want to make the buy, what we do is to offer a showcase right off the bat. One is whether you want to put the price or whether you want to list the price. So depending on your niche and your visitors, that's your first decision. That will mean what you want to click and set up when you're going through a setup. So we'll do an ad, and then what I want to do is type in showcase, as it's just going to pop up a showcase. So inside here is short code, is you just have to go back over to the blocks and you can search Amazon. Go into search Amazon. I'm going to search for that item itself. So you have multiple options. You can search with a name for a product, and it'll just try and search how you would search inside Amazon for a product name, or you can type in the ASIN and just go specifically to your one product here. So you can do either or. So here's my item. So I'm going to go ahead and choose this one. And within Amalinks Pro and 2.0, we built a whole bunch of different showcase options. So there's an original, which is the one we started with that was here and the only one that was available until this version. And then in this version, we added some more. So here's the original. And then you can switch over. The simple kind of strips away more and gets you just to the product itself and gives you a price that you can hide or show, like on the original. Everything has a checkbox. So if you didn't want to show these, you could turn them off. If you didn't like what's there, you can actually add your own instead. And then this way you can hide whatever elements you don't want to have there. You can click and edit the name if you're unhappy with the name. You can actually turn off the image if you want to turn off the image, or you can turn off the button. I'm not a fan of turning off the button, but normally these say buy on Amazon. I changed the price or the name to just be check price on Amazon because that's where I want them to go most of the time. And the rest of the site, I have these all turned off. It's an argument both ways. We want the click because I'm interested in them buying other products, so sometimes not listing the price will just take them directly over to Amazon to check the current price. But within here, you've got the simple showcase. You've got a wide box, so the same kind of thing, but with an additional data point added in. You've got a slider. So this one actually slides through the images that are available in the API for the product. So this could be one image if the vendor is really poor and doesn't put images, or it could be, I've seen 10 to 15, depending on the vendor. You can do a large, so this one takes and really extracts out big images. It's really going to depend on context and your website as to what works. If you were just doing a huge Elementor sales page, maybe you want something big, it's a huge thing, or it has some really pretty pictures of whatever item, then you may want this one. And then this is an advanced image slider. So this one, as you'll see, is just the images, but all of these will actually link you over to it. And then there's the all images grid, which just gives you every image that'll pop up. And if they click on an image, it'll just take them straight to Amazon. So you can get around even putting a price and just put the array of images that are there if you want to. So for this one, I'm just going to stick with the original showcase. I'm going to choose to hide the price. And then you'll have options here. So you can tell it to open in a new window, which is typically what I do because I don't want them to leave the site when they're making a purchase. No follow. I leave that checked by default. And then add to cart. Add to cart is interesting and useful depending on the products you sell. For things like what Carl has, if they're high ticket items, add to cart may be the right way for you because add to cart will give you 90 days on the item. But it also converts what you do to only for that item. So you don't get credit for the rest of the cart. You only get credit for that item. And if they delete it later out of their cart and put it back in their cart, you still get credit as long as it's within 90 days. So if you're in a lower tier item, like, maybe $100, right? Within your niche, under $100 is fairly inexpensive. I wouldn't turn on add to cart. But if you're in a niche like hot tubs, where it's $4,000 for an item, and nobody's going to make a choice now, but within 90 days may make the choice, then maybe you want to do this as an add to cart so that when they click on the item, it's going to go to Amazon and say, do you want to add this to your cart? They say yes. The second they say yes, you've got them for 90 days should they buy that hot tub. But it's not any hot tub. It's only that hot tub. And in addition, if they were to go on and make 6 other item purchases on that same shopping trip that you left them to Amazon for, you will get credit for none of it. So be aware, it is very helpful and very beneficial, but it's very specific to needs. All right, now we'll jump over, insert, and what that does is it drops in the whole short code of what that was so that we can see the whole thing. So if we go ahead and save this, we'll preview. Now, what you get is the actual showcase showing on your front. So now you write your introduction, you're talking about what it is, and then you're like, blam, this is the one I want to solution or you suggest for you. So as you go down, you can see more. Like I've got a bolded section here. You can link to text. This part I will say is this part works better inside a classic editor than it does inside the current build of Gutenberg, just because it wants to make a block. So what you can do to make a link is you can actually do text affiliate link. So it's part of the features. It's just not well integrated with the way Gutenberg makes blocks out of everything. So it makes the text link. But what you can do is search. You put in that text again. We'll choose this item, and you'll see it gives you the whole name using this text, and you can copy the link. So this is one that will make it an API link, which is what you want in the end if you're trying to maximize that value that you get, because you do actually have only so many. I'm going to replace the text there. We'll copy the link, and then we're just going to go ahead and make this that link. I'm going to copy my link. Did not like me. Copy the link, which normally is copy link address. And then just add it into here so it's an API link. Because what you really want is you need that link count to increase. And then I remove the block. So for those who aren't aware of how the API works, the API you only get so many calls for items based on the amount of sales you make. The amount of sales you make on the API is what you'll get for credit on the API. And it sounds like a lot, but even if you make $4,000 in sales, but it's only 5 cents per, I think it's per 5 cents you get one request, right? So it sounds like it's a lot, but you burn through it real fast. If you build reviews that use the API, so when we complete this, it probably will have 6 calls within one post to the API. Now, so that means every person who visits this page would burn 6 of those requests. So the API is a benefit and a drawback if you can't create sales. So what you need to do is really ensure what you're doing is the best it can, and really work on focusing on getting them to click through and make the purchase from you, because you are burning requests anytime anybody visits your page. And if it's 100 requests a minute, but you're having people visit, thousands per minute, then you may hit a point where you hit the limit on the API and it can't fulfill the data. This is what happens when the API made its change in version 5, that Amazon throttled the API for people who don't make sales. So instead of it being full for anybody who had an API key, now it's throttled based on your sales. So you do need to be aware. All right, so we'll continue down. So here, after this, I just want to add a button. So you can go in here and you can just do button. And we have this one that's Amazon affiliate CTA button. So again, it comes back to the short code. What we'll want to do is make sure we have our name. And then inside here, we search Amazon again. And we'll choose the same one. And you have a whole bunch of options inside here. You can do compliant buttons. So these ones allow you to use the Amazon logo and are fully compliant with the terms of service. Some people like them. I'm not necessarily a fan. Or you can do a custom call to action, which is this on the side. And you can create new ones, and you can change the colors and the hovers and the, basically anything about this, what the border is. If you look, there's a whole bunch that you can do inside. I'm not a huge custom button person either. I'm probably should be, but you can change any feature about this and get yourself all set up. So you can make these changes and try and figure out what works for your site. I'm not as button oriented as some people are. So you'll see this button. I stick with the standard one. It works for me. I choose to align them in the center. I don't really like left aligned things, which is what WordPress does by default. And then same one with the others. You can open in a new window with no follow and then add to cart. You can do that on any one of them. And they'll show you after there's a global setting to just make all of them add to cart, but I would suggest leaving that off by default. So insert into Gutenberg. We can save the draft again. And now what you'll see is now we've got this button added in, which is an API call to get us this. So you'll notice that there's no API call on this one because you get the actual price. Well, you get the pricing underneath when you add the price because those have to be pulled. Pricing will show up here when pricing is on. So I'll show an example real quick. What we're going to do is instead of hide the price, we're going to go ahead and show the price in this. And you'll see with the prices, it actually has to add, this is required by Amazon, that the price was actually pulled currently from the API now. Because you can't do that randomly. Like it needs to be specific so that way they know you're presenting a correct price and not just you typing in a random thing to get a click. So when you do have prices, it's going to put this underneath every box that has a price because it's required by Amazon to have that. Okay, so we'll keep going. I do features and benefits, but typically after features and benefits, what you want to do, or what I do, is I try to bring in an image to kind of showcase the item itself. There's less images on this item than I typically would go with, but what you do is you go in, you create a block, and you can just say Amazon image, and we'll go ahead and copy the name again. And what we can do is search Amazon. And what this will do is give us our search, and now we can choose the item image that we want, and we can choose the size. So in this case, you can kind of look at these and see what you think is the right one. But if you choose the large image, you'll see how big this one is. Go ahead and align it in the center. And then typically, because people don't always click on images, I duplicate buttons so I don't have to keep building them. And I'll move the image to have a button below it. Because this way, if they don't see that they can click on this with a little hand graphic, they have a button to take them right over there. So this is how I do this. And you'll see how nice the image looks. And it looks nice and big. And it's far better than anything you get through Amazon without the API. As you go down, you'll see I try to put more buttons in every once in a while. So I will duplicate these a couple times. And I'll typically put them in sections where I think they could get a click. So like in this case, now as they're going through, they read past some benefits and some drawbacks. And then after the video, they have a button to take them to go click directly to it, right? So if they watch a video and the video tells them that it's the most amazing thing in the world, they've got your link right there to click and follow. And then when you get down here, like about sections, what I like to do is add images. I like to at least add something to break up just clear nonstop text. So you can do an image again, and you can do like right aligned. And then what we'll do is grab this name again. And we're going to go ahead and search. And this time what we'll do is we'll choose probably that as a small image. This way there's something in that space. It's not just a bland space of just text again. You could probably go medium, but large tends to end up with really big images and not really well for text, but very good for size when you want to present the images. And then as you go down, this is where I put reviews. So in here, I'll go through and I'll look at other review sites and kind of look and see what their thoughts were on it, and then work on paraphrasing kind of how other people have viewed it. And then I typically will look at what Amazon people have to say, and then it's not copying. I mean, really don't copy their reviews because that'll set you up for all kinds of problems, but paraphrase what it is. I mean, you can say, now, when I was reading the reviews, overwhelmingly people were happy about this, and it's because of this, this, and this. Or overall, people, were upset at that had only a 2-year warranty when the typical vendors of this equipment offer 5 years, right? You're really trying to fulfill information for them. But once you finish, you can actually come in here and you could add more images, you can add a whole bunch of stuff, but here's where you can add yourself a lot of value. If they make it through, you can actually build tables really easy. So tables inside Amalinks Pro are oriented vertically, whereas alternate software will do horizontally, where the products are across the top. The problem is that as you get smaller screens, they have to dump those, so they either have to drop off items or they have to break the table into sections and make it incredibly long horizontally, whereas instead our responsiveness allows them to all stay in order because they're in the vertical layout already. So I've got a few tables already. I will insert one so you guys can see it, and I'll just go through how you can build one. So we'll put in the top 5 freestyles, and you'll see it's just a call to a specific table ID and the ID that's going to get credit for it, right? So we'll save this. And now when you load the front end, you'll see this table loads, and basically, as I've said before, I took out the prices. You can put price in here and it'll actually load and display the prices of all the items. It actually will tell you if they're Prime eligible if you want to show it, or you can hide, or you can delete the column. When you hide columns, it doesn't make them not exist, which is one thing people frequently get incorrect. When you hide them, it just makes them not show unless somebody expands out the container for that one. So like on this one, I've hidden title and price, but they still exist inside the table. They're just not presented on the front end. But this way you can kind of customize at each level what you want to display for anybody. So we'll go back over here and we're going to go ahead and delete this one. We'll open the table builder and we're just going to call this an example table. And then what you have here is the basic layout itself. So always image, title, price, prime, buy. Those are the ones that most people want to have. So what we'll do is click the plus to find an item. And we're just going to type in, let's type in hacky sack. So inside here, you can see this is actually number 2 item that sells in foot bags. So when they search and get into a specific category, this one sells number 2. This one sells number 1. So I'm just going to click these, and you can select as many as you want to select. You can also continue on to page 2 and click on more, and you can keep moving through and selecting, and then you can click here to insert, and everything you've selected will get dropped into the table. So now what you would do is figure out what you want to present. So the default that it's going to show you here is the overall layout of all of the tabs and all of the rows that you have inside. If you want to hide something, you can go up here to the gear, and this is going to turn off showing. So if you choose not to show this, this means only on desktops, the normal screens, will buy show up with a buy button. Otherwise, it's going to end up underneath here inside this section to get to the buy button. I would not suggest that, but you can do it. Most of the time, the most common ones I see are hiding Prime, but it takes up very little space. I prefer to hide this specifically on mobile, and I'll hide the price on mobile, which gives them an image, whether it's a Prime, because a lot of people will make a purchase based on Prime existing, so they know that they'll get it in 2 days, and then the button to take them directly over to it. So from those things, you can kind of set how you want it to look on a mobile device. The next thing is you can add columns. So when you add these, there's a lot of specifics that can be pulled, or you can do custom. For most stuff, I do custom text because people want to know the height, or they want to know the weight, or they want to know something specific that isn't a specific field in Amazon. So you can add these custom, and they're here as a blank where you can edit everything as a text. And then the same thing, you can just go ahead and hide it wherever you want to hide it. That way it's just available to show later. And then this will bring us over to adjusting the rows. So on the rows, currently what we have is the star, which will just make it R featured. So when you see this one, top, that one's the one that's got a star. So that's the featured one. That's the one we're saying out of all of these is the best one. That's the option we think is the best out of what we're listing. You can use the little hamburger icon. You can drag stuff around. You can reorganize it and figure out where you want to put it. Sometimes having that one as the first one as the top isn't the best way to do it. So you can arrange them how you need to. When you do this, it's gonna pull and try and pull back images from the API. So you can always search against those and try and see what other images exist. I tend to leave them as default. Within titles, a lot of times these are incredibly wordy. I don't know if it's because they're trying to target the overall Amazon searchers, but I tend to come back into here, and if I don't just hide it outright and just leave it as something that shows up under here, I will go edit it a lot. But most of the time what I'll do is I'll leave this one here, and then I'll just edit it, and I'll be like, set of 3 Haggy sacks. Because I really don't like incredibly long ones, because they start to flow off into another, like they just look ugly. If they're not all clean, it irritates me. So I would suggest taking time. I mean, see, like they don't need to know blue and black. I mean, it's right there. So you can start to, they already know it's a hacky sack. You can start to strip away some of the wording that's pulled to make it sell for you. So once those are all in place, then you can click save. And it'll tell you it's saved. And then what you can do is go, same thing, other ones. Sorry, forgot to mention. Everything will always have these options available to you. These ones, same thing as others. The click can be make to add to cart. So what I'll do is add to cart this time, so you can actually see what that looks like. We'll go ahead and insert that one in. So we'll go ahead and save this. We're going to go ahead and reload. So these ones now, you'll see, exist. And if you click on, okay, so now when you click on a buy now, it takes you to Amazon and it says, do you want to add this to your shopping cart? Continue. This actually puts it fully in your shopping cart. Now this is for you. If they come back and they delete this and they come back and add it back later, then you get credit for that sale within 90 days. Or the typical links will do just take you to the item. They choose to add it to the cart. This way you get credit for the entire shopping cart. This way you only get credit for that item in the shopping cart. So there is times where it could be really beneficial, but you really need to focus on your niche and your items and what's considered an item that will take longer than 24 hours for somebody to probably make a decision on. Hope this has been helpful and explained a bunch. I will always be around for questions, and you can always reach out to me over on my channel. It's Pro Blogger Income, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
So thanks a lot, Josh, again for doing that video for me. It's certainly given me a lot of information. It's certainly one I'm going to consider using on my mega website now. Will I use Amalinks Pro over AWP? Yeah, I might, to be honest. I might give it a go. You can even use both, to be honest, if you need to. But I think after watching that video, I think Amalinks Pro certainly looks like it's worth investigating. And for the small cost it is each year, especially if you're producing a lot of buyer intent articles and product reviews, I don't think you can go wrong with purchasing a plugin like this, or in fact AWP. So I hope you like that video, something a little bit different. I want to collaborate a little bit more with experts in certain fields. With this website and other websites, I'm also doing an email marketing campaign, and I've never done one, so I'm learning it from scratch myself. I will bring you information on that, but it's great to reach out to experts in this field and say, you know, this is what I want to do. What do you suggest? Can you do me a video on it? So I'd love to work with more people out there. If there's any YouTubers out there that want to collaborate, please get in touch with me. I'd love to do that. So I hope you found that helpful. I know I did, and I hope that helps you out. And I'll see you in the next video.